In the year 2142, a space probe reactivates its systems upon finding the wreckage of the Nostromo, the ship from the original Alien film. It opens a hatch, retrieves an object that looks organic, and departs. This object is then taken to a space station where scientists dissect it. Half of it is sent for research, but the remaining half reveals a xenomorph inside. 6 months later, Rain is speaking with a Weyland-Yutani Corporation employee, which oversees this mining colony. Rain argues that she's completed her work quota and should be free to leave, but the clerk informs her that due to a labor shortage, she'll instead be transferred to the mines. Her contract release date is extended by 5 years. Just then, Rain sees her adopted brother Andy being assaulted by some thugs. She rushes to scare them off and checks on Andy, who is bleeding a white substance, revealing he's an android. Using a special chip, Rain resets him to calm him down. Rain then receives a message from her ex, Tyler, inviting her over. She and Andy head to Tyler's ship, the Corbelan, where Tyler and his family explain they've spotted a derelict ship drifting in orbit near the colony. It has several hypersleep chambers, and if they can salvage them, they might have a way to escape the colony. Tyler wants Rain to come along, as Andy could connect with the ship's computer to bypass any locks they encounter. Soon they're en route, and Tyler's cousin Bjorn shows off a fire trick with his lighter. They encounter turbulence from a storm, but sail smoothly once above the clouds. Upon reaching the ship, they realize it's an entire station and closer to the rings than they thought, meaning it will crash in 36 hours. Tyler assures them they'll be in and out in 30 minutes. Privately, Rain asks Andy if he's sure he wants to continue, and he responds that his sole directive from her father is to make her happy. When they connect to the station, Tyler, Bjorn, and Andy board with a temp scanner. Andy opens the first lock, and they crawl through a narrow passage. The station's artificial gravity intermittently cycles on and off, causing them to float into a room where they find the pods. As gravity shifts, Bjorn falls, prompting Andy to restore power and stabilize the gravity. They check the pods, but discover they lack fuel for the 9-year journey to the nearest planet. Tyler ejects the pods for the Corbelan to retrieve, while he and his team search for more fuel. On board the Corbelan, Bjorn's sister Navarro pilots, and Rain tends to Tyler's sister Kay, who is feeling ill. Alone, Kay confides that she's pregnant and asks Rain to keep it a secret. Meanwhile, the group on the station stumbles upon a recording, learning that the station, named Renaissance, also belongs to Weyland-Yutani and is divided into sections called Romulus and Remus. Murals on the walls reference these names from mythology. Tension rises when Bjorn reveals his disdain for androids and insists that Andy can't come with them, as their destination prohibits androids. Andy, however, reassures them, saying whatever is best for Rain is best for him. Continuing their search, they enter an active lab where Bjorn finds a stun rod. While playing around with it, he nearly falls into a pit, but Andy catches him. They also find a damaged android and see evidence of a chemical spill that destroyed it. Reaching the cryo chamber, they find the door only partially opens. Inside, the room is flooded. Tyler and Bjorn try to extract fuel, but Bjorn freezes his fingers in the process. An alarm sounds, sealing them in, and Andy struggles with the lock due to clearance issues. The neighboring room's computer shows frozen facehuggers inside the cryo chamber beginning to awaken. Navarro and Rain board the station to rescue them, and Rain attempts to transfer clearance from the destroyed android to Andy. The android reactivates and attacks, but Navarro quickly disables it. The girls hurry to the lab, passing a module through a narrow door gap. Tyler installs the module into Andy, who freezes momentarily during reboot. Meanwhile, the facehuggers fully awaken and slip into the water. A facehugger finds Bjorn and latches onto his leg, causing him to stumble. It quickly leaps toward his face, but Bjorn wrestles it off and hurls it against the door. Meanwhile, Tyler narrowly avoids a facehugger in the water, only to see another one clambering onto Andy, who suddenly springs up and lands right on Tyler's face. The creature tries to insert its appendage into Tyler's mouth, but Bjorn uses a stun rod to knock it off. An unconscious Tyler falls into the water as the facehugger once again goes after Bjorn, who continues to fight it off. Rain attempts to force the door open, but Navarro refuses, fearing the aliens will escape. Bjorn keeps battling the creatures while another facehugger approaches the slowly reviving Tyler. Luckily, Andy awakens and grabs the alien by the tail, killing it by throwing it at the lights. He touches the lock, finally opening the door, and the group rushes to escape. Unfortunately, a gap remains, and the facehuggers team up to push it open, chasing the humans into another room where they lock the door. Just as it closes, a facehugger manages to squeeze through, landing on Navarro's face. The group tries to help, but it's too late. The creature has its tail wrapped around her neck. Removing it by force would kill her. To everyone's surprise, Andy explains that the alien is supplying oxygen to Navarro to keep her alive. He speaks with unexpected intelligence and calm, and Rain realizes the new module might be causing this, but Andy stops her from removing it, saying he's been updated. Unsure of how to safely remove the facehugger, he suggests turning on a damaged android. They connect it to the computer, and as it powers up, it introduces itself as Science Officer Rook. He tells them it's too late for Navarro since the facehugger is implanting an alien inside her. Rook reveals that the station is actually the ship that discovered the Nostromo's wreck, where the crew was killed by a xenomorph, now hanging dead from cables in the hull. Its acidic blood caused much of the damage. Rook had sealed the station after the alien died, but it was already too late. Rain proposes using cryonic liquid to freeze the facehugger. Tyler sprays the liquid, and as its tail loosens, they pull it off Navarro's face. Tyler tries to destroy it, but it escapes through a hole in the floor. Relieved Navarro is safe, Rook warns there's still a 60% chance an alien is inside her. Andy insists they shouldn't bring Navarro back, leading Bjorn to hit him with the stun rod, sending him flying. Rain stays to check on him while Bjorn escapes with Navarro. Andy hears something and races to the corridor, finding Bjorn sealing the doors. Andy grabs a door, trying to keep it open, so Bjorn bolts to the next one and locks it quickly, trapping Andy, Rain, and Tyler inside the station. Navarro detaches the Corbellin from the station, but soon feels sick. Using a special light, she sees that, as Rook warned, there's an alien growing inside her. Navarro has a seizure, and a chestburster emerges from her body, killing her. Now without a pilot, the Corbellin spins out of control, slamming into the station and igniting a fuel tank in a massive explosion. The blast knocks Kay and Bjorn unconscious. The ship drifts into the station's hangar, shattering a window and causing a vacuum effect. Fortunately, the doors shut just in time, but the station is now destabilized with only 47 minutes until it crashes into the planet's rings. Rain and Tyler, attempting to find a way across the station, come to a door and find a group of facehuggers waiting. Meanwhile, Rook checks the computer to confirm a substance called Z01 compound is still intact and asks Andy for help. Andy realizes the new module has overwritten his directive, now prioritizing Weyland-Yutani's mission over helping Rain. He rejoins Rain and Tyler, sharing Rook's information. Facehuggers are blind and find targets by sensing body heat. By raising the room temperature to match their body temperature, they might evade detection. Andy adjusts the thermostat, and they carefully cross the room, making an effort not to react to bodies lying in the corners. Meanwhile, Kay awakens aboard the Corbellin and goes looking for her friends. In a corridor, she finds the shed skin from the chestburster, now forming a cocoon on the wall. Bjorn finds her, making her step back before he stabs the cocoon with the stun rod, shocking it until the alien acid corrodes the rod. The attack doesn't finish it, and the creature's tail lashes out, slashing Bjorn's face as more acid spills onto him, ultimately killing him. As the xenomorph emerges from the cocoon, Kay bolts to a door but can't open it, so she calls Tyler. Whispering, He guides her, and she finds a key, opening the door just in time to escape. In the meantime, the trio is running from the facehuggers. Tyler throws a flare, and the creatures chase its heat, giving them a temporary reprieve. Soon, though, the aliens are on them again, and as Andy reaches a door, he begins closing it, forcing Tyler and Rain to sprint to safety. When Rain calls him out, Andy claims he calculated that they'd make it. With just 30 minutes remaining before impact, the hangar's sprinklers activate, waking Kay, who hides from the xenomorph stalking her. It crosses over her hiding spot, and once it leaves, Kay heads for the hangar door, accidentally setting off an alarm. At that moment, the trio arrives on the opposite side of the door, but Andy refuses to open it. He notices the xenomorph lying in wait, meaning it's using Kay as bait. Rain tells him that Kay is expecting, hoping to appeal to his sympathy, but it doesn't sway him. Eventually, the xenomorph loses patience and drags Kay away. Furious, Rain slaps Andy, questioning his directive, to which he responds that he must prioritize what benefits the company. Then Andy ushers Rain and Tyler into the elevator, explaining that he needs to complete the mission, so Rook will unlock the hangar door to let them escape. Arriving in a lab, they discover a capsule containing a strange fluid. Rook appears on the screen, explaining that humans were never meant to explore the universe as their bodies can't handle it. Thus, Weyland-Yutani built this station to study aliens and use their fluids to enhance humans. This Z01 compound is the same black liquid seen in Prometheus. In a video, they watch a rat nearly crushed to death. After scientists inject it with the compound, it heals instantly. Andy gathers the compound samples, preparing to take them to the colony. But Rain halts him when she notices the xenomorph on a security feed. Andy retrieves 2 pulse rifles from a cabinet, giving them to Rain and Tyler, advising them to shoot only if absolutely necessary, as the alien's acid blood could breach the hull. The trio leaves the lab, unaware the video is still playing and that the rat has mutated into the dead creature they found in a box. With only 20 minutes before impact, they start crossing the station and encounter an abundance of xenomorph resin, signaling more aliens nearby. When Andy turns on the lights in the corridor ahead, they're horrified to see a full alien hive coating the walls. Andy and Rain suggest finding another path, but Tyler hears Kay's voice and rushes into the hive. Rain follows him, and they find numerous bodies cocooned in alien goo, including Kay's. They pull her free, and Andy points out she hasn't been implanted yet, as there's no dead facehugger at her feet. Her pulse is weak, so Andy offers a compound injection to revive her. Before Tyler can administer it, Rain stops him, suspicious of the substance, and suggests Kay might survive if they reach a cryo chamber. Suddenly, they hear a xenomorph screech approaching, prompting them to flee the hive into another room. Another xenomorph there attempts to stab Rain with its tail, but Tyler intervenes, taking the hit instead. The alien uses Tyler's body to knock Andy down before dragging him back to the hive, where more creatures swarm and kill him. Rain and Kay escape into the elevator, avoiding the aliens. Rain, however, can't stop thinking about her brother, so she leaves Kay and the samples at the hangar bay, instructing her to return to the colony on the Corbelan. After Rain departs, Kay, concerned for her child, decides to inject herself with the compound. With only 10 minutes left, Rain reaches the hive, removes Andy's module, and reboots him. When he reawakens, he's back to his old self. The xenomorphs close in, so the two flee, but Rook refuses to open the doors, citing the risk to the compound. Furious, Rain shoots the screen, but Rook reappears on the Corbelan system, requesting access to the ship from Kay. Rain disables the station's gravity and begins shooting at the xenomorphs, causing their acidic blood to float instead of damaging the hull. With Andy stabilizing her, Rain dispatches every alien until all are dead. They start making their way through the corridors, cautiously avoiding floating acid, but Rain nearly collides with some. firing her rifle to adjust her course. Eventually, they reach the elevator shaft and plan to climb up, as the elevator is inactive without gravity. Andy makes a leap, but Rain is held back as a xenomorph grabs her leg. She shoots its arm and floats upward, not realizing the acid has melted a hole in the door. Andy clings to the stairs, while Rain reaches for her drifting rifle. Just then, gravity resets, causing Rain to fall. The descending elevator nearly crashes down on her, but Andy catches it just in time. Before she can hit the ground, a xenomorph snatches her with its tail. Desperately clinging to the stairs, Rain struggles as the sudden gravity shift causes all the acid in the corridor to fall, damaging the hull and creating a vacuum. This slows the xenomorphs climbing the shaft, while Andy releases the elevator, sending it plummeting down to crush the remaining creatures. Rain reaches the stairs safely, and as the elevator hits the ground floor, it seals the opening and halts the vacuum. However, a xenomorph remains in the shaft, advancing toward Rain along with a facehugger. Just then, Andy retrieves the rifle and descends, opening fire and eliminating both threats in seconds. At that moment, the countdown on the computer ends, and the station begins shifting on its rings. Andy and Rain finally make it to the ship, discovering Kay unconscious. Rain swiftly engages the ship's autopilot, and the Corbellin escapes just before the station crashes into the rings. Rain places Kay in a cryopod, disconnecting from the station so Rook can't taunt them anymore. He's obliterated as the station collapses. Rain then prepares a cryopod for herself, but first puts Andy to sleep. She notices an alert showing critical vitals and opens Kay's pod to find her screaming. The compound has hastened her pregnancy, and she gives birth to a xenomorph-like cocoon. Rain quickly cuts the umbilical cord and moves it to dispose of it, but drops it upon seeing the acid. The cocoon splits open, revealing a horrifying baby inside. Acid seeps through the floor, sending the cocoon into the cargo bay. The ship detects a breach in the cargo and switches from autopilot to manual mode. Armed with a freezing ray, Rain rushes to the cargo bay, only to find the cocoon empty. Following the creature's footprints, Rain soon realizes Andy is awake and checking on Kay, who is now secreting a mucus-like substance. Her grown child attacks Andy and then feeds on Kay, killing her. Rain appears and tries to confront the creature, but it disarms her and knocks her down. The damaged freezing ray emits a cloud of icy vapor that distracts the creature, allowing Rain to escape back to Andy, though he's too heavy to move. As the creature pursues, Rain locks herself in another room, quickly donning a spacesuit as the temperature drops. With the creature starting to force the door open, Rain leaps into the cargo bay and begins releasing the manual locks, aiming to eject the bay along with the creature. She manages to open 3 locks, but before the 4th, the creature strikes her. Spotting the cocoon nearby, she tips it, letting the acid burn through the floor. Her suit, tethered to the ship by a rope, keeps her from floating off as she climbs back. The creature grabs her helmet, cracking it, but as it holds on to the bay with its tail, Rain yanks her rope and releases the last lock, ejecting the bay and the creature, which crashes into the rings. The ship, too close to the rings, reactivates autopilot, allowing Rain to safely climb back on board. Moments later, she places Andy's damaged body into a cryopod, removing his module and vowing to repair him. Entering her pod, Rain hopes they'll survive the journey and reach a new world. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to support the channel. Thank you for watching.